breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Officers hurt in Raleigh. A man is in custody after a shootout with police. What we're learning from court documents about the suspect.
And a dense fog advisory this morning. You're going to run into some soupy conditions as you head out. I'll let you know if you'll be affected on your commute.
SBI called in. Today, Carytown leaders are gathering to discuss ways they can increase trust, the ways they're looking to move forward as the investigation into their former town manager intensifies. It is 4:30 on your Friday morning. I'm Renee Chu. We love that you're up with us this early. We get a jump start on our weekend, right? Look behind me. This is the downtown Cary Park camera, and it is looking very foggy out there. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. And Elizabeth, this dense fog advisory came out within just the last 30 minutes.
It did, yeah, right around 4 o'clock this morning. And you can see it's definitely warranted. I take a look at the cameras all across our area, and almost everybody's seeing fog out there this morning. The dense fog advisory is in effect for the Triangle area northward. We look for quarter-mile visibility officially for fog, so we're seeing that in South Hill, but half a mile in Roxborough, Durham, and Raleigh, 3/4 of a mile in Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, and Wilson. So it's going to be pretty messy out there. Here's a look at that advisory. Sanford, Goldsboro, Smithfield, Siler City northward, on up toward Roxborough, Warrenton, and Roanoke Rapids, all in that advisory. Here's a look at the big picture. We have a cold front approaching us. It's nice and warm, but cloudy ahead of that front. That front will move through today, but there's not going to be a whole lot of rain associated with it. Still, we could see an isolated thunderstorm as that comes through. So we'll walk through future casts coming up. It looks a bit more foggy here in downtown Raleigh, 50 degrees currently with a northeast wind at 3 miles per hour. And we are still on track to break a record high at 76 this afternoon. More rain in the forecast for the weekend. I'll show you the timeline for that.
Elizabeth, thank you. New developments overnight after Raleigh police say a murder suspect shot at officers serving an arrest warrant. At least one officer was hurt. Ali Calabar is on Woodbend Drive in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. And Ali, court documents are revealing a lot of new information about how this transpired.
Yeah, Renee, and even more court documents coming out within the past 30 minutes. But right now I want to show you what we're seeing at the scene here. They just took down some police tape, which indicates that the scene is starting to clear. We know officers have been out here for several hours investigating. This is where Raleigh police officers were serving a warrant to Solomon Owens whenever he's accused of shooting at them. We want to show you this mugshot released overnight. This is Solomon Owens. Court documents show that Owens is accused of shooting at 5 Raleigh police officers. He's facing 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, 5 counts of assaulting a police officer with a firearm, and 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill emergency workers. Now, this is video from the scene last night. Raleigh police say officers were serving a warrant on Woodbend Drive. Garner police say Owens is suspected of killing a Garner man last week. Raleigh Police Chief Rico Boyce says when officers got there, Owens started firing.
As officers were about to enter the residence, Mr. Owens shot at the officers. At least one Raleigh police officer returned fire.
And we know that all officers are okay this morning. This comes more than a week after Joseph Adams was shot and killed in his car on Timber Drive. Garner police say they're still working to find out why Owens killed Adams. And as we are seeing this investigation wrap up, we're working to find out how many officers were hurt or impacted by this shooting. Of course, we are staying on top of this story, reporting throughout the morning. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
And a friend of Garner shooting victim Joey Adams had this to say to WRAL about Owens' arrest. She said, "I'm extremely grateful for Garner and Raleigh police for their tireless efforts to bring this person to justice. It won't fix what happened or bring Joey back, but I'm hoping this can help bring Joey's family closure and peace, knowing this person will not be able to hurt anyone else." WRAL will be following new developments in this story throughout the day. Be sure to tune in to our evening newscast beginning at 4 p.m. A suspect has been taken into custody in the murder of a 19-year-old in Wake County. 28-year-old Ricardo Maldonado was arrested last night in Georgia. He's accused of killing Jennifer Zolise yesterday morning on Avery Street, just south of Raleigh. Maldonado is charged with first-degree murder in her death. We're working to learn more after a person under 18 was stabbed in Raleigh. The WRAL breaking news tracker saw more than a dozen police cars on scene. This was on North Raleigh Boulevard around 7:30 last night. The male victim was stabbed in the leg. He is expected to be okay. And a suspect who is also under the age of 18 is in custody. No names have been released yet. Today, Carytown leaders are meeting for their annual retreat, and looming large over that meeting, former town manager Sean Stiegel, who is now the focus of a State Bureau of Investigation review. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us live in Cary right now. Sean, this retreat will be different than others.
Yeah, that's right, Renee. They will live stream the entire events. This is just one of the many steps the town has taken over the last few months to try to increase transparency to help residents rebuild their trust. And all of this comes as they're dealing with the controversy around former town manager Sean Stiegel. Now, you may know that we've been covering Sean Stiegel's abrupt departure since he resigned in December after he was accused of improper over-the-top spending and inadequate financial reporting. And now the focus of that SBI review of a 2016 drug investigation where his vehicle was at the scene of a suspected drug house, though he was never charged. So while the focus of this retreat is transparency and moving the town forward, it's another fracture to the town's foundation he's trying to rebuild here.
We've been working a lot with things that have happened in the past, and it's time for us to move forward, especially when we're talking about budget. We're going to have a wide open budget process this year. We want to involve the residents. We're bringing in the residents in the preview portion of the budget, which means these are just ideas and thoughts, nothing concrete, but we're bringing them in early. We want to hear their ideas and their thoughts early.
So a lot of high-level discussions about the budget will happen over the course of the next 2 days, but nothing's going to change here. But it does lay the groundwork of what you can expect from the council and the mayor throughout the year, and they are encouraging residents to get involved. That's why they're live streaming all of the events. In Cary, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Happening today in Durham, Mayor Leonardo Williams is hosting a news conference to announce an emergency task force to deal with recent violence. The city wants to emphasize that it is not reacting impulsively, but acting deliberately. That news conference starts at noon. We will have updates here on air and on WRAL.com. Now, this comes as Durham police say crime is down in the city. The police department released its annual crime report yesterday. In it, they say from 2024 to 25, crime went down 17%. They also noted their officers cleared almost 90% of homicides last year.
We are here for the moment. And so our investigators are committed to ensuring that every investigation is handled in a dignified manner, one by which we will bring people to justice.
Staffing is also improving at the Durham Police Department. At its lowest in 2020, DPD was only about 70% staffed. We are now entering day 20 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. The mother of Today host Savannah Guthrie was reported missing in Tucson back on February 1st. It's believed that she was taken from her home. Law enforcement continues to review doorbell video from the night she disappeared and are looking into DNA found at her home. There is a more than $200,000 reward leading to information. That reward has led to a deluge of tips, overwhelming the 911 system in Pima County, Arizona.
If you're thinking about calling in a tip or a lead, or if you have specific information regarding the case, I ask that you stop and take a moment and think, is this tip viable? Is it credible?
In the nearly 3-week search, local and federal officials have received thousands of tips. WRAL has followed new developments in this case since the beginning. You can find our extensive coverage on the WRAL YouTube page. Just search Nancy Guthrie. Escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran. President Donald Trump is setting a deadline on a possible peace deal with Iran. This is after the U.S. military said it could be ready to strike Iran as soon as this weekend. Top administration officials reportedly met at the White House to discuss possible military action. President Trump has hinted at a regime change in Iran and insists that Iran must not obtain a nuclear weapon. At his Board of Peace meeting yesterday, the president said it has been difficult to make progress with Iran.
As you know, Iran is a hotspot right now, and they're meeting, and they have a good relationship with the representatives of Iran, and, you know, good talks are being had. It's proven to be, over the years, not easy to make a meaningful deal with Iran. We have to make a meaningful deal, otherwise bad things happen.
Air and naval assets have been building in the Middle East in recent days. The USS Gerald R. Ford is a second aircraft carrier group headed to the region. Sources say a final decision on whether a strike will take place has not happened. Here's what we're watching for today in the Winter Olympics. Today, Team USA's men will play in the hockey semifinals against Slovakia. If they win, they will likely play Canada in the final on Sunday. The USA women's curling team will play Switzerland in their semifinal today. And medals will be awarded in events including freestyle skiing and speed skating. Here's a look now at the medal count. Norway still in first with 34 medals. Team USA in second after earning gold in women's hockey and women's singles figure skating for a total of 27 medals. Italy is in third with 26 medals. Japan and Germany round out the top five. 4:41 now on your Friday. PTA embezzlement. A Wake County woman is charged with stealing from the nonprofit organization. How arrest warrants claim she did it. And let's give you a live look at the American Tobacco campus in Durham on this foggy morning. You can barely make out the Lucky Strike Tower there. Today is going to be mostly cloudy and warm. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner breaks down how warm we'll get, and she times out the rain today through the weekend.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
4:45, and we're dealing with fog this morning. The top of the tower lit there in orange to signify fog. We also have the chance of some showers later on today. It'll be closer to lunchtime, and we'll walk through futurecasts coming up. Our dense fog advisory includes Sanford and Goldsboro, Durham, Rocky Mount, all the way up towards South Hill and Roanoke Rapids. Just not our far southern counties. Doesn't mean that you won't see any fog, but it just may be a little bit thicker from the Triangle area northward. The cloud with the squiggly line is our fog icon. So we're seeing that Durham, Roxborough, Cary, Garner, Holly Springs. Our temperatures are a little cooler than yesterday, at least in some places. It's 45 in Roxborough, but it's 64 in Fayetteville. So we do have a very wide range in our temperatures this morning. Still, nobody needs a heavy coat heading out the door. In the middle of the day, we could have an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but coming up, I'll explain why it's probably not going to be a whole lot of rain.
The treasurer for the Wake Forest Elementary School PTA will be back in court next month. Anna Marie Etheridge is accused of embezzling more than $30,000 from the nonprofit. She appeared in court yesterday. Cameras were not allowed. Etheridge faces a felony embezzlement charge. An arrest warrant claims she embezzled more than $32,000 in PTA funds last January. Officers in Nashville are investigating after they found a body at an abandoned school. This happened just after 4 yesterday afternoon at the closed WL Green School. They were doing a security check there at the property. Now they are working to identify who died. The death is considered suspicious. We'll bring you updates on this as investigators learn more. Lee County deputies arrested a man accused of gang-associated crimes. 30-year-old Jonathan Ayala Melendez of El Salvador is a transnational member of MS-13. He was wanted in El Salvador on kidnapping, murder, and attempted murder charges. Authorities say he was found after a crash with injuries on U.S. Highway 1 this week. He was later identified through a fingerprint scan. Ayala Melendez is in jail without bond and has an immigration detainer on him. A new warning this morning from police in Chapel Hill about better security practices when mailing checks. Officers say there have been nearly 24 reports of checks being stolen outside the USPS office on South Estes Drive. They say the safest method is to take your payments to local tax offices instead of putting them in the mail. Now, if you must mail a paper check, use an opaque security envelope with extra tape to seal it, or send it as certified or priority mail for safer tracking features. If you're looking for a job, Publix is looking to fill roles at its new Durham location. Starting today, they will have a hiring event as they get closer to the grand opening of the new location at Latta Park. They're hoping to fill more than 140 positions across all in-store departments. Interested applicants can swing by the Hilton Durham starting today. The event is all weekend from 9 until 4:30. First graders at a school in Tennessee are showing gratitude to members of the community who often go without thanks. Tennessee was hit hard by last month's devastating ice storm. Hundreds of thousands of people were in the dark for days. And it was the first responders, electrical workers, and energy crews who fought through the conditions to get power restored. Students at a school in Nashville personally thanked the linemen who helped get them back in the classroom.
Thank you for being brave in the cold weather.
It's incredible. It's heartwarming, and it's nice to know that they see what we do and appreciate it.
Many of the linemen spent long days away from their families, battling some of the worst conditions. The kids surprised the workers with a book and video for their sacrifice. Well, on this Friday morning, we are off to a foggy start. It looks very eerie out there on all our weather cameras.
It really does. I looked outside. I was like, whoa. I mean, we're looking at the potential for some fog, but, you know, sometimes it's thicker than others. Sometimes it takes a little while before it actually appears. So let's take a look at our cameras and talk about the fog that we're seeing outside right now. We're going to start with downtown Raleigh. And you can see as we look down Fayetteville Street toward the Capitol building, you can't even pick out the Capitol building. It is so foggy out there. So we do have that dense fog advisory that's in effect right now, especially for, say, Sanford, Smithfield, Goldsboro, Durham, Lewisburg, Rocky Mount, up towards South Hill, almost everybody. We could have some fog down to the south as well, but it's likely to be just a little less dense. 10-mile visibility for Fayetteville and Southern Pines. It's a half a mile for Roxborough, Durham, and Raleigh, quarter mile in South Hill. Most likely we'll see more widespread quarter-mile visibility, which we would consider fog coming up. I mean, it's definitely foggy there in downtown Raleigh. Let's widen out the view and talk about the big picture back here across the west. They continue to get snow. They've had a lot of fun and a lot of trouble in the snow. We take a look at one of the colleges in Reno, and you can see how people were really enjoying it there. This is just at college, and they've made ski jumps. Maybe they're thinking about the Olympics. Whoa, that guy was awesome. He just did a backflip. One of the ski resorts in the Lake Tahoe area has seen 8 feet of snow since Monday. What we're looking at as our front comes across the country is the potential for some severe storms. And you can see that up around the Midwest. We won't have that same potential. As a matter of fact, we have just a very little rain that's likely to come in for us today. We're starting off with cloudy skies and the fog. And then as the rain gets closer to us, notice it just really fizzles out. We do have a thunderstorm in the forecast just to cover the bases because there is a small chance. We may see some clearing later on. Now, what will happen next is Saturday, our front moves offshore, and then we're going to see some wraparound moisture as a low really becomes a big deal for us over the weekend with a better chance for rain. This is a look at downtown Raleigh, the legislative building, 50 degrees right now, so it's another nice mild start out there, and we could end up with a record high. 75 is the record, 76 for the high in Raleigh, 74 in Durham, 78 in Fayetteville. In terms of our forecast, we really bumped up the chances for rain, especially Sunday, as it looks like we're going to have a more robust low that develops off the coast. We need the rain. Of course, parts of our viewing area went into extreme drought yesterday, so we'll talk about how much rain we could see out of this system coming up.
Elizabeth, thank you. New novel adaptation. Phoebe Denver of Bridgerton and Fair Play will star in a new movie. Details of that film and more entertainment news ahead in your Hollywood Minute.